Habari Ghani, and welcome to another awesome Kwanzaa conversation. And whoa, have we got a great one planned for tonight. Habari Ghani, today's principle is Ujamaa. And because it is Ujamaa, which is cooperative economics, we have pulled from our network on bringing one of the best, if not the best, speakers and thought leaders with this topic. Peter Brown from the Ledge Group has been actually developing this structure, and I like to call it a black print, not a blueprint. I like to call it a black print. He has been developing this for decades. So whereas, we might be babies in this movement, this man has single-handedly led people from an individualistic mindset into an absolute village phenomenon. And he has done it not only here in America, but abroad in the motherland as well. I love to follow his stories and his teachings on Facebook, as I have was referred to him in the ground building of the Plantations for Reparations initiative. This is the way I was introduced to Peter. And when I tell you that introduction set things in motion that I am sure, had those not have been set in motion, we would still be sitting at the ground level. So we have been able to use a lot of the advisement, again, a lot of the teachings, and it has led the groundwork for what we're doing now with building upon our 26-acre campsite here in Athens, Georgia. And we would love to have Peter become a guest here as well. Looking forward to having him visit here, and continue to lead us in some direction. And I also would love to give a little bit of word of advisement, or just, I always say, just not criticism, but loving care in regards to anyone that's interested in village building or village joining, is to look to the elders for these type of advisements. I think so much in this generation X and beyond, that means Generation X, the millennials, Generation Z, we kind of have gotten very comfortable with saying, well, our peers are the ones that are kind of making these trails, so we don't need to look beyond that. But if there was ever a time such as this, that it is needed now, because without the direction, without the proper direction and fortitude, what happens is you'll begin to just stand in the same place, in the same space. And we we definitely don't want to be in a position where, when the next generation is coming up, we have nothing to lead, nothing to leave, or nothing to share. And this is what will continuously happen if we continue just to do this amongst our groups. We need to be able to look up and look ahead to the people that have done it before us. So again, that's just a little bit of love, a little bit of word of encouragement. But I implore all of you, open your notebooks, get your pens out, get your hearts open, get your minds open, and get ready for the most powerful hour that we've had yet with these Kwanzaa conversations. Without further ado, bringing not only a colleague, not only a village believer, but an absolute mentor in the regards of cooperative economics, Mr. Brother Peter Brown.
Wow, that was absolutely an amazing introduction. I am humbled, and I appreciate you so fully, and your drive and your spirit. And there is no question Once you visualize everything that you want, you'll step directly into it. Success is an inevitable metric, and you'll get there. I know you will.
Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe. So, what I'd like to do before we begin is to give thanks and pay homage to first my parents and yours, for they are the conduits that brought us to this place. They weren't perfect, that's for sure, but they were the conduits, and something that they did put us on a path. And so for them, I'd like to say thank you, Ashe. I would like to say thank you for our most illustrious storytellers and teachers. I want to say thank you to El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. I want to thank Geronimo Pratt. I want to thank George Jackson and Bunchy Carter. I want to say thank you to Noble Drew Ali and John Henrik Clark and Chancellor Williams and Sheikh Anta Diop. I want to say thank you to Noble Drew Ali. Thank you. Expand his space. I want to say thank you to the Honorable Marcus Garvey. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Elijah Muhammad. I want to say thank you to Benjamin Banneker and George Washington Carver. I want to say thank you to Queen Harriet Tubman. I want to say thank you for the wisdom, for the fortitude, for the direction, for the spirit upon which we stand right here and right now today. I want to say thank you for Maulana Korenga. I want to say thank you for Imhotep and all the way back. I want to say thank you for Patrice Lumumba. I want to say thank you for Stephen Biko. I want to say thank you for all of those shoulders upon which we stand right here and right now. We are the culmination of all of their works, of their spirit, of their intent. We are the culmination. So we need to say thank you and pay homage to them. So with an introduction that's such like my sister said, I better say something. so my name is Peter Brown. I was born, my mother was a Panther, my father was a Mau Mau. I was doomed, right? The first language me and my brothers and sisters learned was Swahili before English. I was, I was in the Black Library and Black Panther meetings and in the Nation of Islam and Brother Farrakhan and Brother Minister Don, they used to walk, and Brother Malcolm, they used to walk house to house on Sundays. They would meet in different houses. It got very dangerous. They would meet in different houses throughout the community and have meetings and speak to the people. And certainly my father, my mother were of that group. And so I wasn't born into it. It was born into me. My father, that was, but before he released me into a hostile environment where I had to find an egg, this was a predefined role. I was destined. And so I have worked my entire life in the area of attempting to actually survive, certainly what was heinous, but to define the action items. What is the solution? What's the model? How do we do this, right? And so I spent a lifetime doing that. I found myself at Harvard Business School teaching professors at one point. And I was successful in the effort. It was a long-standing effort. And I was successful. And in the day I was sitting in the cafeteria as Harvard was bleeding me for my economy, it dawned on me that if I can teach Ivy League professors at the best university in the world, arguably, and they trusted me to do so, then I could teach myself. I pushed that little raggedy lunch out the way and I quit that day. That day I walked out and I quit. That was it. I couldn't, I realized I could teach my own. But what am I going to teach my own? And so we're going to jump into the Nguzo Saba. We're going to speak through this. Okay. And Ujamaa, so very relevant, and I am appreciative to have been brought. I'll speak a little more about some of the work. I am the former CEO and founder of the Ledge Group. And in the years since we've built the Ledge Group, we built a hospital without any loans, without any debt, without any government assistance, without any sanction, without asking, and without having to bend to anybody. And we serve a community of 50,000 people because we can. Okay? We've built maternity wards. We've built water filtration facilities all over the world. We have demonstrated, I've gone to more countries than I can name and performed alternative energy workshops, teaching the brothers and sisters how to produce power from wind, water, and wind, water, and solar solutions. We've taught water filtration methods to the people so far from water and so desperate that they drink what is known dirty water and is known to be affecting their health. They have no choice. They're drinking that water. So we have performed workshops teaching them how to use readily found material all around them in order to be able to filter the water and ensure a healthy option for themselves. So we have spent many years around the planet with a singular focus, right? And to be honest, I gotta fall back to my mother's teaching, and that number one teaching was all power to the people, right? The government won't solve our problem. They can't. It is the people. There was a black man that lit himself on fire in the Mall of Washington, protesting the political machine that is at work in America. And when they put that man out, our brother, that was a black man. When they put that brother out, not one thing within that political machine changed for that brother's life. So it is not possible for the governments of the world to solve the problems for the people. The governments do not work for the people, they work for capital. So you can whine and cry, you can die, and you can do whatever. You can storm the Capitol, but the machine will never answer to you. So the only answer is to stop asking, right? Is to stop asking. How do we get there? So Ujamaa, cooperative economics, the 7 principles of the Nguzo Saba, right? Matunda wa Kwanzaa is how it is completely said, which literally translates to first fruits. First fruits. We're going to swing back around. So our principles at work are Ujamaa, unity, right? Umoja, which is unity, Kuchijakulia, Ujamaa, Nia, and Kaumba. Okay, these are our principles. Swahili, as a language, is 3,000 years old from the Bantu people, right? And it has been adapted and modified over time by Arabs, but the language itself is 3,000 years old. In contrast to the English that's spoken in America is 500 years old. Kwanzaa is 3,000 years. Okay? The principles, however, of the Nguzo Saba are as old as humans and predate words, right? They predate words and language entirely. They are those lessons that did not require language. Please hear. They are those lessons that did not require language. A son saw his father and the efforts that he took in order to maintain food, clothing, shelter. And he naturally followed suit. The father didn't have to tell him, wait, come, stop, 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 come over here. The father didn't have to do that. Naturally, the son followed suit without words. A group of humans lived in close proximity of each other, and each of them required food, clothing, shelter, water. And as a result of that, each of them was able to do it for themselves. Now, because this group of people in close proximity could see that this person had the same challenge as I have, they were able to see each other in each other's eyes. And so as a result of that, there is an instant camaraderie that is produced. And if one should need help, I can relate to dry-mouthedness. And because I too have the skill, I can diminish the workload on that man and work with him, and we can fix that problem, right? And this was the basis of community, the word community. This was the basis, okay? So the root prerequisite associated with the natural development of the Ngozi Saba was need. You understand? The root prerequisite was need, essential need. Okay. The father needed to make sure that there was water for his family. He needed to ensure food, security, safety. None of this was predicated upon any wants or distractions. At a very base level, need was the driver for the principles of Ngozi Saba. Is this clear? Is this understood? So we find those principles are as old as humanity itself. How can I say that so with such conviction? Because until you learn these things, you were dying. Quite simply, it proves itself. Until humans learned how to find clean water, how to find food, how to build shelter, they died. So the foundation upon which we build was predicated upon the very principles that we're speaking about right here and right now. Okay? So now, in 1966, Kwanzaa was created. This isn't a thing that is celebrated, right, in Africa. This is completely designed here in America. It was created by Maulana Karenga. Okay. Now, I'm not going to discuss the man or his beliefs, or even in as best as I possibly can, I will not speak my opinion, right? I will not speak my opinion, my belief, my ideology, my philosophy. I will not do that. What we're going to do is we're going to speak strictly facts that we can point to, each of us, true for each of us. Okay. So I thank Brother Karenga, and we thank him for his wisdom and the energy that he spent and the spirit behind what he did. What I will say is that we must be able to clearly define some very basic things in order for the practices to be truly useful. See, if we build upon a faulty premise, if we accept key assumptions that are faulty, and we then attempt to build a solution upon this faulty ground, we will necessarily fail. There is no combination of events or actions that could cause that to be any different. We will necessarily fail. Okay? So, for example, unity. This is critical. This is critical. Unity. United in what? Toward what goal? Using what vehicle? And what is the measurement of success and final conclusion associated with that unity? See, unity has become almost a buzzword, right? It's become almost a buzzword. We say it and everybody can hear it and everybody can agree that's exactly what we need. But what are the steps? What are the, I asked questions just now. Unity, united in what? Toward what goal? Using what vehicle? And what is the measure of success in the final conclusion of that unity? You ask 100% of us the same question, and nearly each and every single person will answer it in a different way because it is subjective. It does not provide to us the concrete and comprehensive steps that you and I and every single one of us can take in our own lives that push forward the major goal. And because of that, unity becomes a buzzword or a derailer to keep progress from being made. You hear me? Without clear definition, it is impossible. You cannot draw back your bow and hit a target that you do not aim at. So if we build our plans along a faulty premise, then we necessarily have to come to failure. Okay? So unity. United in what? Toward what goal? Using what vehicle? What is the measure of success? And the conclusion of the effort. So we revisit the principles, kuchichakulia, self-determination, right? To shape the world in our own image, right? Ujamaa, collective work. But collective work towards what goal? Towards what goal? See, because if I ask the entire crowd, each and every single person has a different answer, so we will never complete the goal, right? And I need to convince you of the importance of my goal, and you need to convince me of the importance of your goal. And suddenly we are mired in a debate of subjective understanding and perspective of a given thing, and we have forgotten the goal. This is how we get to where we are. This is exactly how we get to where we are, because in the end of the 60s, this is what was happening. We were diluted by slick mouth pimps that spoke real good, but they was out to get. You understand? They were out to get some drugs. They were out to get a bottle. They were out to get the women. They were out to get the name. They were out to get the money. They were out to get. And the majority of what came out of the 60s was exactly that. So it injected into us as a people a spirit of the dozens being absolutely appropriate. And the dozens in the debate has kept us from making any progress. So we sit in 2023 in a condition potentially worse than any condition of any of our people at any time in this nation's history. I'll qualify. Okay. So when we look at Nia, right? Purpose, Nia, purpose. But this becomes subjective if we do not have a common understanding. So again, I started back with the word unity. If you don't have a clear definition of what you are uniting in, if it is subjective, if it is based on my religious beliefs, if it is based on my political beliefs, it is based on my motivations, if it is based on my goals and my dreams and my bag, if it is based on that, then it is impossible for us to have unity. This is why I said it is a derailer without shape, without form, without definition. It must necessarily fail. This is a math equation. Okay? So again, without the clear definition of the goal, the means, the common constraints and the instruments of our oppression, each of these words becomes subjective and means something completely different for each and every single person that hears them. This cannot produce unity, but rather it fractures us into tiny little groups of ideology and philosophy and what this means to me and what that means to you. And again, this is what happened to the movements of the 60s. Ideological and philosophical differences again caused us to lose sight of the goal and what we were even talking about. We lost sight. Okay. So I'll begin with cooperative economics. Okay. We're going to begin with cooperative economics. I've spoken to unity, and I've spoken to the fact that it's somewhat shapeless because it is subjective, right? It doesn't give us an action item. Okay? Why is cooperative economics so important? Because if we begin, and I said challenging those key assumptions, if we begin with the premise that our current condition is normal, that our lives belong to a master, and the best we can ever do is augment his system and make him stronger, then we can never succeed. I'm going to read this again. These were my notes. If we begin with the premise that our current condition is normal, that our lives belong to a master, and the best we can do is augment his system and make him stronger, then we can never succeed. What does that mean? It means if I make $1 billion, then white supremacy must have made $1 trillion. It means if I get successful under the system that controls my food, clothing, shelter, water, healthcare, security, sanitation, education, and utilities, if I should become successful and wealthy, the only thing that means is that the system of white supremacy must be wealthy and it must be solvent. For if it falls, every metric that I use to define success fails with it. Do you hear me? Every metric that I use to define success will fail with it. So we use the word today, community, and I went back to the first humans to actually describe the foundations of community. But what we are calling today as our community, we do not control nor benefit from the use of the food, clothing, shelter, water, healthcare, security, sanitation, education, utilities. The only thing that we own in this place that we call our community is a set of keys. This is not your community. This is a prison. Do you hear me? This is not a community if you neither control nor benefit from the basic essentials that allow that community to live. Do you hear me? Okay. So generation after generation after generation will open businesses and they will pay white supremacy for that business. They may get successful. They may make $1 billion, but white supremacy, I can guarantee you, is still strong because it's strong based on the energy that my generation just spent and your generation just spent. And each child and each and every single one of us, until we're nothing but numbers and consumers. They call us consumers and we don't take offense. We don't take offense to that. Okay. So the problem is, if we open a business, we get a job, we get a good career. If we should succeed or if we should fail, the system of white supremacy gets stronger no matter what. And every single penny, every single denomination with picture of slave owners on it will find its way back to whoever printed it, right? This is the dynamic we are in. So when we say cooperative economics, we necessarily fall upon currency and paper that was printed by this man and gave value as the focus of cooperative economics. We think when we speak economics, we must be talking about money. But if every single penny that you ever touch in your life will be spent to provide for you food, clothing, shelter, water, healthcare, security, sanitation, education, and utilities, then why couldn't you learn how to do those things for yourself and never have to touch another one of his dollars? Why? Why couldn't you do that? That is what is critical. It is to understand the instruments of our oppression, what they are today and what they were 400 years ago. And when we look back 1 million years ago, what made a man free? What was it that made a man free? What is free, right? What made a man free was the fact that he could do it. And so we spend our days, our nights, we teach our children and each other how to normalize this defeated place where we think the only answer is found in currency, which has no current beyond what we give it, right? Current is energy. It has no current beyond what we give it. And every element of it that we ever get, we're going to work for him to get it. And once we get that, we're going to buy from him our essential needs. You cut to the chase. You can learn to filter water in an hour, right this minute. You can learn to provide your own food in a few weeks. You can learn to build your own shelter and maintain it. You can learn this. You can learn basic triage in healthcare and how to maintain the human physiology. You can educate those around you. So each and every one of the essential needs that each and every one of us have, we have the capacity right here and right now to learn them. And that is what I truly wanted to impart, is that instead of using buzzwords that we can all agree in, but they do not require any personal investment, they do not offer a personal direction relative to what is step one, what is step two, what is the goal, what is the measure of success. How do we know when we have gotten there? Without these things defined, then any question that you possibly ask is never going to come with an answer that will solve the problem. You have not even defined the success criteria. So there is no way to advance forward without doing very literal definitions of the who, the what, the where, the why, the how, and what is the success criteria. So the biggest and most fundamental flaw is attempting to build on faulty premise and expect success in any form. The adaptation to making normal a defeated existence is not acceptable. It is not acceptable for us to consider how to be comfortable under another man. Under another man. And so the identification of the instruments of our oppression, both now and 400 years ago, is what ties us to the success or failure of another man. And with that answer, every single principle is given form, shape, direction, and goal. It gives us conclusion. It solves the problem. So now, next year, we are no longer simply saying Umoja. We are already involved because your child can filter water and so can mine, and they're having fun doing it. Because your child knows how to build a watertight structure and so can mine, and they're having fun doing it. The same way when we used to go outside as children, the first thing that we would do is we would find tools, makeshift tools, and we would build a fort, or we would build a go-kart, or we would build something. It was innate. It was innate. It was innate. My brothers and sisters, you did it too. When you were allowed to go out, there was no foreman, there was no agreed upon salary, there was nothing. And if you couldn't complete your task this week in the time allotted to you before the lights came on, you hid your project so that next week you could come back to it and you could continue building. And what were you building? You were building shelter. Whoa. You were building transportation. Whoa. You were thinking about your food. Whoa. Straight out. Your first time outside. This is what you did. And somehow we have lost that spirit. We have overlooked it. We walk over it like it was a penny on the ground. But in fact, it is the answer. The answer is not billions of dollars. The answer is not trillions of dollars. The answer is capacity. All power to the people. See, for if you can filter your own water, then you ain't going to be complaining about what the government is doing with your water. If you can control your own food, you won't worry about a global pandemic or the supply chains failing so that you cannot get that food and you might die. If you can control your own shelter, you're not worried about the maintenance of any part of your home. If you can control your own security, then you ain't worried about the police because they are already factored in your security profile. If you can control your own healthcare, then you're not worried about the cost of pharmaceutical drugs and you're not taking that bullshit because you already have control of your own physiology and the way that you eat. See, each and every single one of these things that I speak to are free for you to learn right now. So we overlook their value. We don't consider them. We walk past them like they were a penny on the ground, but they are the only true answer to 100% of our problems. When I say 100%, is it the truth only for 100% of us? It is true for 100% of the Russians. It is true for 100% of the Ukrainians. It is true for 100% of the Indians. It is true for 100% of the Aleutians. It is true for 100% of the human beings on this planet Earth. It is true. So if that is the case, then I beg you, my dear brothers and sisters, I beg you to revisit the principles. Unity. What is that unity rooted in? It is not rooted in philosophy. It is not rooted in ideology. It is rooted in the need for your family to have water and for my family to have water. That is where we will find clear unity. Kuchijakulia, self-determination towards what goal? We must be very clear in defining each and every one of these. And once we come up with the definition, the answer is clear. It is like the North Star in the sky. It becomes very, very clear, and it is common among all of us. So then we don't even need words anymore. I know what you better be doing because that's what I'm doing. Because I must survive. Do you understand, my love? Do you understand? This is what we have to adopt. We must get away from ambiguous terms and those things that apply to you, but not me. No. If it is true, it must withstand 360 degrees of scrutiny, and it must find itself true in each and every degree. For if in just 1 degree, it is not true, it's just 1 degree, it is not true, then that thing cannot be called true. And that is the only thing that we should consider. That is our attack vector. Identify the instruments of your oppression, and then one by one, take control of them anywhere that you are on this planet Earth. And soon you will be free. These are my words to you. I want to again close by thanking. I want to thank my parents and yours, for without them, we could not be. They are the conduit by which we are presented. I want to then thank our grandparents and our ancestors who endured the most incomprehensible woe and challenge. Human history has no measurement, has no litmus to use to measure. I want to thank those who stood up as beacons, Brother Malcolm, Brother Huey, Brother Geronimo, Bunchy Carter, George Jackson, Patrice Lumumba, Stephen Biko, Kwame Nkrumah, Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines. I want to thank Marcus Garvey and the noble Drew Ali, for nothing that I have said to you here tonight, nothing that I have said to you is new. These are the words that have been left for us that we've forgotten, and we need to resonate them. They all told the exact same truth. John Henrik Clarke told you the exact same truth. Chancellor Williams told you the exact same truth. Noble Drew Ali told you the exact same truth. Each and every single one of them told the exact same truth. We have to disallow anything from keeping us from hearing their voices and what it was they prescribed. It is the oldest. It comes before language. It exists. The Nguzu Saba exists as long as human beings exist. So let's embrace it correctly. Let's embrace it selfishly. Let's embrace it for the benefit and the forward trajectory of our progeny. Let's embrace it. Habarigani.
Habarigani, indeed, you all, as they would say in our in our former religious selves, the church doors are open. We are going to take some couple of seconds to really process what is being considered here, because again, want to thank you for just imparting your wisdom, but also I often say that when you're in a spirit of elevation, you have to understand that there's going to be some information that totally shifts up what your thinking is. And I love that, as I was sharing with my husband before we got started, I said it's already going to be fire because the pregame, the warm up was fire. When I was saying, okay, we have to stop thinking bills and start thinking billions, and you said we got to stop thinking billions and erase all of that because it still ties into a structure. And so my husband said, "Wow, this was awesome," and he definitely is one for sure. So I want to get into a couple of things because again, like I said, and I advise others coming in, have your pens out, take notes. This is not going to be a type of this was not going to be a type of conversation where you just kind of put it on and it doesn't shake up. It doesn't shake up your thinking. And so when things came about and that wanted to be addressed, I said, be prepared. Um, so my husband said earlier, unity is the base of everything. No unity, no nation. Okay. Um, within regards to that, because again, as I shared earlier, Peter, you were in the literal ground floor when we were organizing thoughts on how to approach this conversation in regards to land procurement for the sole purpose of village building. We were not planning on taking this property and flipping it, as I hear people say, or we weren't thinking of taking this property and saying, oh well, yeah, we're going to Airbnb out these rooms. We literally want to uh, reclaim something that is ours. Clearly, I mean, we built it. This is shelter that we built, and repurpose it for actual true village cultivation.
Mm-hmm.
We were very surprised, unfortunately, that so many people were just uh, people were not as open to the idea. So how do you, because again, reaching out and reaching up and knowing that this is nothing new under the sun, how have you been able to retain this mental fortitude and you're functioning at a high level? I want to tell you, brother, you're functioning like your feelings ain't never been hurt with this reality. How do you do that? How can we continue to embrace that and still want to do for our people? Because I tell you, that has been some of the harder conversations in
Yeah.
regards to this disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you, one of the things Brother Malcolm said, one of the first things that he did was he read the dictionary. He read the dictionary. Because what we have to do is we have to begin to dissect the words, or we're saying nothing, or worse, we're cursing each other. Like the word humble. We walk around and tell each other to be humble. Go look up the word humble. That is nothing that I want any one of you to ever embrace. That is nothing that any one of us should ever be, unless you are invited and offered the opportunity to wash the feet of an elder. Humble is nothing that you should be. Okay. And so your husband said, unity is everything. Unity, without unity, there is no nation. What must be done is you must define the truest element. What unity are you talking about? Is it unity in the church? Because that's there and it ain't solved the problem. Is it unity between the Islamic communities? That's in place and it has not solved the problem. We cannot unite in ideology or philosophy. We must have actionable and defined responsibilities. How do we get there? I can unite with you in the fact that your family and my family needs water. There is true unity. We can unite in the fact that your family and my family will die without food. That is true unity. We will unite in the need for healthcare. That is true unity. I've got cousins that used to rob banks and turn the money over to the community because Black people had to have the cash to be able to pay for their medical needs. And so they would rob banks and turn that money over to the community so people could go and get their health care. There is an agenda to destroy Black families. And unfortunately, I'm going to ask you all to look up the word agent. Unfortunately, we are the greatest agents. See, because if you weren't eating that man's food, you would not have the health problems that he does. If he was not controlling your water, then there would be no way that he could possibly shut you off and end your life. If he did not control your shelter, then you would not have any of his power over your home. If he did not control your education, your healthcare, your economy, your utilities, then his voice would not matter. His agenda would not matter. If we controlled our own, all power to the people. If you controlled your own, then his agenda would not matter. It matters now because he has control over all of the things that you require in order to be alive. So what is the answer? Make more money? No. The answer is to slowly but surely take control of those things that he has control over that allows him to control your life. If he controls your water, he controls your life. If he controls your food, then he controls your life. So yes, there is an agenda to destroy Black families. How do you solve it? What is step one? Step one is taking control of your water first in a hierarchy of needs. Second is take control of your food. Second in the hierarchy of needs. Third is shelter. Fourth is security. This is how you make their agenda die. And any other effort will perpetuate that agenda, and it makes us agents of our own demise. Does this make sense, my brother?
A hubby is definitely fired up. He says he needs to talk to this brother. This is actually a great segue because how if someone wants to get this directly from source, they don't want to just do the play black. They want to talk to you directly. What's the best way for them to do that, brother?
Wow. Okay. So, it's if you email me, I am already inundated with email. So that's challenging. That is very challenging. Maybe social media is the best avenue. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm going to give you options, right? You can send me an email. And from there, we can link, we can exchange numbers, we can communicate. My email address is pbrown@theledgegroup.com. Theledgegroup.com. Okay. My Facebook is my name, Peter Brown. Um, Unfortunately, I always have 5,000 friends, but you can engage. You can send a message. It goes to that little other inbox. I'll see it. I'll get and I'll speak with you. And if and again, what I want to do is I want to bridge the gap. I don't want to make it very difficult for you to be able to communicate with me and me to communicate with you. So ping me, reach out, we'll exchange numbers, and we'll get it closer, right? We'll get it closer.
I love that. And I have included for everyone to see, I have included the email address down in the chat. And for the Facebook connection, again, that is his name, Peter Brown. Um, we'll have the name back up on the screen, and so literally it's just on Facebook, and so you would definitely look through the the Facebook Messenger to do that. Um, so again, this has been it's good, but it has been a lot to kind of consider. As we're approaching, I'm theming this year 2024 year of open doors, and just not just for ourselves, myself, or rather my family to walk through them, but also opening up the door for other people. Peter, how can we take this concept or this principle of cooperative economics? How do we take that and apply that to the into the how do we apply that into this structure? Because I do believe that it's just like we're putting up a vision board, and just like you said, if you say unity, unity of what? Unity behind what? It needs to be applied. So how do we specifically apply, we as a village, community, family, culture,
Yeah,
diaspora, how do
yeah.
we apply the principle of cooperative economics going into the new year?
I'm gonna tell you, and you know what? It's actually gonna be a lot of fun because the answer is speaking to the child that each and every one of us was. You know what it is? Do something with your hands. So on my YouTube channel, you can search for Ledge Group water filtration or Ledge Group alternative energy. And I will walk you through in less than 10 minutes how to effectively filter water down to 0.00 microns and make it drinkable using material readily available to you through nature. And guess what? When you know you can do it, oh, wow. So we have what is false pride and we have real pride. False pride is not, I can't buy pride. I can't go to IKEA and buy a table and be proud of that because I was able to make enough money from that man to buy it from his boy. That doesn't make me proud. What makes me proud is when I can do it with my hands. Because yes, I can filter the water myself. Yes, I can produce power for myself. Yes, I can educate my own babies. And so what I want to do is I want to interrupt the workflow that has been frequency manipulation. And I'm going to tell you to turn all of that off and put your hands into something. What each and every single one of us can do. Start tomorrow. What do you want to build that addresses your essential needs? Food, clothing, shelter, water, sanitation, security, education, and utilities. What do you want to build? And as quickly as you can ask that question, you will find the resource, and I ask you to do it. I beg you, put your hands into it. And you know what will happen? You will find a pride. I heard you say your husband's in construction. He knows what that pride is. He knows what that pride is. It's like an artist. I put that building up. You understand? There was nothing there. And I put that up. I saw it in my mind and I brought it out into being. And that is the source of pride because I manifest what was in my mind. And so when you do that and you focus very clearly and myopically on your essential needs, you become tied to the very energy at the beginning of time, the first humans, the first community. And now, failure. No. No, success is a matter of time. Success is a matter of time because now you are tied to the infinite. That's how they did it. That's how they produced community before there was any invader, before there was any interloper. This is how community was produced. It wasn't currency, it was skill. It was real pride. You hear me, brothers? It was real pride based on the fact that I know I can do it. And your woman looks at you because she knows you can do it. And here is where pride comes. And the solution to solve everything that ails us is right here in our hands. Start tomorrow. Start tomorrow. Your children, your husband, your wife, all of you can do this. Start tomorrow, and you spend 365 days focused myopically on your essential needs, and the solution is already done. You hear me? It's already done. It's rolled and sealed in the scroll. That's right. No seat at the table. I make my own. And guess what? When I invite you to the table that I built with my hands, I'm giving you a gift just to invite you, and there is pride. And when we break bread, that food will be blessed. It will nourish us together. It creates the community. But we have been extricated from this power. This power has been removed from us. We don't sing together no more. We don't come together and snap peas together and clean greens together and sift beans together and dad making a fire and butchering the meat together. We're not doing that. And that is what has eliminated our power. It causes us to be fractured in different places. I'm saying, come on back home. Come on back home. You need water? I do too. Let's unite there. You need food? Me too. Let's stop having somebody else give it to us, huh?
When I tell you, I really feel like even though this is being shared out amongst, our entire platform and the networks from others that have come in, and thank you again. We have Vicky visiting us from TikTok community, bringing her people in. Thank you for sharing it out. But when I tell you this message is for us, I know my husband can agree because you're speaking to the heart of exactly what we've been saying, but we're trying to find, others people to be kind of into alignment with us. But especially a part about building your own table that my husband just added. That is directly because that is true. When we
Mhm.
got here, shortly after we moved into this property, a storm actually destroyed his car, and so he couldn't go nowhere, and he was devastated. He said, "So hyped right now." I know you are, baby. But he was devastated. But you know what he started doing? He was like, "Well, I ain't doing nothing else." And clearing the wood that came down from the trees, he started making tables. He literally started making tables. He started making, and so in
Oh
the
my God.
space that I've dubbed the patio cafe, those are all benches, tables, serving stations that he made.
You can't
With
tell
his
that
own.
man nothing. If y'all coming over to their house, guess where y'all gonna sit? They gonna sit at my table because I
Literally,
made this table. You hear me? That's real pride
literally,
right there. It's
literally.
therapy, it's pride, it's everything that we as a people have been missing. We have been given artificial versions of it, but the real
Love
stuff
that.
comes from our hands. And when we reunite our hands into everything, you're going to feel the pride that my brother is talking about right now. You're going to know, hey, your woman, you ain't gonna have to ask no questions about you. Ain't these foolish conversations that are happening, these will go away because she gonna look at you, huh? She gonna look at you, her man out there. He just pulled that wood out and turned it into something.
And built the
That's
table.
my
And
man.
that's what I love to tell females. Y'all talk about what you bring to the table. My man built the table.
Built the table. And guess what?
And
He ain't got to ask you nothing because you feel honored to sit at that table that your man built. Guess
and
what?
I
All
put
them
the food on the
conversations,
table. He built the table.
you just
We
put
this
all
is
them
this is what we
conversations
do.
to rest. I'm not puffing out my chest because I could buy it at IKEA. I made this table, huh?
Literally.
Yeah,
And he
real
had a
pride.
great garden going too before our cat got to it. But
See there? Real
we'll,
pride.
we'll
This is
have
true
more
pride.
opportunity.
This is true manhood, my brothers. You can't buy manhood. It cannot be purchased by way of the car dealership. You can't buy it at the realtor. You can't buy manhood at IKEA. It is not for sale. It happens right here, brother. Right
Right here.
here.
Right here. I love it. I love it. I want to ask this before. I know that we are at an hour, but babe, let me know if you want me to drop the link. You can come on up and say a couple of words to brother Peter before we go down today, or do you want to just contact him afterwards? Let me know. So I'll drop the link and then we can commence. But I just see you're so excited, and you've never had a chance to meet him, Peter. So this would be kind of, oh, he told me yes. Drop the link. Okay, so just a few more minutes of your time, brother Peter, and then we are going to we're gonna close out today. I'm just gonna drop the link for him. But I knew he would. I know he's going gaga because he is flooding this. He's not even giving a chance. He's flooding this thing up for other guests. But I really want to thank you because again, I knew that when it came to these principles, I said Peter would be great for this. I hope he's available on Friday. You know, usually people are getting together their pre New Year's plans, but I said I definitely hope he's available and your immediate commitment. I knew you were going to be perfect for it. I didn't know at the same time that you were what we needed to hear. You didn't know, I didn't know that. But it has given me just some new life in this because like I said, it was very easy for me to be it was very it was a very tough year 2023, and like I said, first and foremost just coming into the realization that we were not going to be able to close on that plantation, and you know that we had to reshift our focus a bit, but then just developing, just trying to align ourselves. You know, Athens is no Atlanta, and we
Mm-mm.
underestimated what what that disconnect from just that energy was going to mean. We thought we could be able to, you know, if need be, we could bring people from Atlanta here and be like, hey, well, this is what we're building here. But it that has, you know, that has been very slow coming. And unfortunately, you know, we still are looking for other families to align with this understanding and this appreciation. But sliding into the new year, like I said, putting these conversations together became my like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's my mission. But I did not know how much this would change and mean for me personally, for us personally, but it has. So I'm gonna let
And
my hubby come up, and since he's coming up, I'm gonna drop down, and I'm gonna. So, babe, you can close out the show tonight. I'm gonna drop back down.
Ashe, thank you,
All
sis.
right.
Okay.
So, without further ado, brother Peter, this is my husband, Devon Doss. He's from the Bronx. He's up in the Bronx right now, actually, while I'm down here in Georgia. But
All
Ashe,
right.
thank you again for coming and joining us today. And
Ashe.
I'm removing myself from.
Ashe. Peace to you, brother.
Peace, peace. First, listen, I had to put my glasses on. I had to put my glasses on. I am, man, I can't even tell you how hyped I am right now. You just pretty much hit every. Oh man, listen. Peace and blessings, brother. Peace and blessings. Look, I'm like I want to told you, but I'm kind of speechless right now. I'm just, man, I'm super hyped. Like I was kind of dragging a little bit, and you started talking. I was like, whoa, hold up. Had to throw my glasses on, put you on the big screen. Just listen, man. Like I needed to hear that.
Yes, brother.
I needed to hear that from someone other than myself.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes.
know, because it brung some because I'm like my wife kind of touched on a little bit. We hit a we hit a snag where we couldn't find anyone that was willing to unite, to
Right.
come in with us. And it was to the point where I was like, man, what is wrong with our people?
Right.
And I was feeling a little down, and this was amazing. This was just amazing. And I like I said, man, I needed to hear that. I really, really needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Because, man, when I tell you I was at like an all-time low, and like to the point where I'm just like, look, man, I'm fed up. I just got to worry about me and my own right now. Me and whoever's in my underneath my roof. That's what I got to worry about. But man, you just kind of you rejuvenated me, bro.
Yeah, brother.
And
Yeah,
I
brother.
appreciate it. And I so much appreciate it. Because like I said, man, I needed to hear that. Man, I needed to hear that.
Yeah. The foundations, the word community, common unity. Again, it finds its roots in our existence a million years ago. So we got to tap into that. Why are we going? Well, I can't overlook that. A million years ago, how did they form community and flourish forward such that they developed mathematics, astrology, astronomy, the right angle, the wheel, electricity? How did they do that? It started very small with the hands going out and making a table. It started very small, using our hands and doing what we needed to do. And when you do that, see, the ones that are ready to talk and do nothing, they're going to weed themselves out. Because they're going to see you working. You understand? They're going to see you doing something with your hands. And it don't make no sense to them. They mocked Noah until he closed the door. You understand?
Right.
They mocked him until he closed the door and let him get wet. You hear me? So the truth is, it's going to weed them out that are not ready to do something. They want to unify in a tiny little ideology, in a little tiny box where everybody believes exactly the way that I believe. But guess what? That's not unity. That's individual, right? And so what we can do is we can unite in our essential needs. It's the base. It worked a million years ago. It will work a million years from now. Let's build something, brother. You already there.
Absolutely. Oh man, absolutely. Woo.
Yeah. I say on a regular basis, you about to engage with a woman, you about to get married to a woman, build a birdhouse before you try to build a family. Build something. Put your hands in it. Build a birdhouse before you go to try to build a family, because if you can't complete the birdhouse, then you ain't going to complete the family. So it is all tied to our hands. Every man, woman, and child that can hear it, do it tomorrow. Do it for 364 years in the 64 days in the next year. And I promise you, by next year, we're not going to be having this conversation in the same way that we have. We will be free in 1 year.
Yeah. Oh man. Whew. Powerful. Listen, and it's crazy because I constantly say, as a people, when you look through history, the only time we have ever really thrived is when we villaged.
That's it.
This European individuality has destroyed us as a people, destroyed us.
Yes.
And I constantly tell people, listen, man, if we don't do it together, we will not survive. No. We will not survive. And it's coming to pass as we speak right now.
That's right.
The individuality more and more every day is killing us. It's destroying us.
Yeah, it is. And you know what else? The frequency manipulation. So it says in the beginning was the word, and the word took flesh. Well, there was no language, right? You know what that word was? It was the bass that you hear in your voice. It was the vibratory quality of the voice that we come. It was a primordial and that took flesh and gave life. So to be completely honest, and if you look through history, contemporary and in the past, you find it is our frequency that has made the whole planet bounce from the way that they used to dress like Elvis. Now they started dressing like Little Richard, and they started dressing like Michael Jackson. It is because the frequency that we emit is different from anybody else on the planet, and it has the capacity to move everything. And once they realized that, they monetized our voice. See, our hip hop used to be real pure. But when they monetized our voice, when they gave us money, they began to manipulate the frequency and change the power of it. What we need to be is silent and use our hands. We need to stop. Don't let them use our frequency in order to be able to create a death ray in this world any longer. It's our frequency that they are used in order to be able to control the entire world. So you divest, you don't give them your frequency any longer. And you put your hands into the work that I spoke to. And again, like I said, if this is done in a year, we ain't having this conversation again. You will be free. You will not ask any man for respect. He will come to you and he will beg you for what it was that you are now withholding from him. You hear me?
That's right.
He will beg you for the life that you are now withholding from him. And you don't have to do it in malice. I'm doing it because I'm a man. I'm not doing it in malice. I'm doing it because I need water and so do you. Because we need food. Because we need healthcare. Because we need security. This is why we're doing it. I'm not doing it to look better than my brother or my sister. I'm not doing it to floss over somebody else. I'm doing it because we need to survive and we need pride. So we withhold our frequency. We withhold our energy. We use it for ourselves. Selfishly is what I beg my people. Selfishly.
That's
and
right.
From now, we ain't got to ask nobody. It's done.
That's right. I tell people all the time, I say, listen, all you got to do is get off the hamster wheel.
That's it.
Just stop.
That's
Just
right.
stop. Just
That's
stop.
right.
Like, how can you expect your oppressor to feed you, to house you, to clothe you, to educate you? How do you expect if you're oppressing someone, the first thing you do is you stop educating them. You
That's right.
stop educating them. You teach them nothing. You show them nothing.
That's right.
You make them dependent upon you.
That's
So
right.
if you can't provide food, water, shelter, security, because you don't know how, then now I have to rely on you to give it to me.
That's right.
How do you expect your oppressor to provide these things, the things that's essential to life?
Mm-hmm.
It'll never happen.
That's
It will
right.
never happen.
That's right. He can't fail because you won't let him.
Exactly.
He cannot fail because you won't let him. It is a dysfunctional relationship where we feed a beast because a beast feeds us. You see? It's dysfunctional. He can't fail. So all we've got to do is be selfish, my brothers and sisters. I love you. All we have to do is be selfish. Think about your water. And I'm thinking about your water and my water. And we'll make sure our waters are clean. Think about your shelter. And I'm considerate of your shelter and your food. And we make sure that we good. That's all. I ain't got to yell no names at this people. I ain't got to stain my lips or my heart. It is pure action to be men.
That's
That's
right.
all.
That's right. Oh man. But listen, I don't want to hold you up. Like, you know, we passed the hour, and like, listen, man, I could probably sit here and talk to you for another hour. But like I said, and we do appreciate you coming on and dropping these power bombs, these nukes. Okay. Man, I needed to hear that. Oh man, I can't even tell you how much I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I needed to hear it as much until now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Man.
Yes, sir. Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe.
So look, I'm gonna let you go, and
Yes.
again, peace and blessings.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your night. And listen, we definitely will connect.
Yes, sir.
We definitely will connect.
Yes,
and
sir.
Yeah, 2024, open doors. Listen, that door ain't even got to be open because I'm about to take it off the hinges.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Blessings to you, my brother.
Right.
All right. Peace to the people.
All right. Come on back up, Courtney.
Well, I thank you for the permission, sir. Trust me, I know. And Peter also is a resident consistently of Africa. I would love for y'all to have that discussion a little bit more, because he does holds residency in Africa as well. So thank you all for joining us tonight for this incredibly pivotal and powerful Kwanzaa conversation. Tomorrow, if you thought this was great, and it was absolutely, we are going to be delving in. We are not stopping. The momentum is going to be intense. We welcome everyone to come and be involved in NIA, where we are talking with none other than author and advocate Richard Pellegrino about the purpose of race, reparations, and why it is absolutely purposeful and necessary for atonement right now, today, for for white Americans specifically. So that is tomorrow, December 30th at 2 p.m. We want to give a big shout out also to our brother God, Palmetto, who is absolutely just having and leading an amazing conversation at the Consciousness site for the Cipher of Consciousness today in Atlanta. And again, we want to thank our dynamic guest, Brother Peter Brown, former director of the Ledge Group. You can definitely reach him on Facebook at Peter Brown, or you can also reach him on his website. I'm sorry, on his email that was his website, but it's still his email address is still connected, and that is pbrown@theledgegroup.com. Make sure you visit p4r.today to get involved with our village building initiatives, as well as stay up to date on our village building events and engagements. So until tomorrow, Habari Gani, go forward in spirit and in true unity, common unity. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Mm-hmm.